Welcome everyone to the weekly preview show from PickGuru and RotoWire. This week we're going to be previewing the AT&T Byron Nelson as we're counting down to the PGA Championship next week, the next major, which we're all looking forward to. I'm Matt Hardy, I'm head of content at PickGuru, and I'm joined by PGA expert Len Hochberg from RotoWire. Len, how are you doing this week?
Doing well, Matt. Thank you. Thanks for having me as always. We were having a little fun backstage right before we started. I'm going to try and get settled and talk some serious golf here.
Sounds good. Plenty of decent prizes, as always, up for grabs on PickGuru this week. There's at least £500 in the pot, which we smashed through last week for our £10 game. There's also a £2 game and a £50 game. You can get involved. So if you're watching this and you want to get involved, just follow the link below, download PickGuru, and you can make your own picks and compete for these big prizes. We're going to be running through the categories for the game, and we're also going to be highlighting the best selections, as we do every week for this latest PGA Tour event. So get involved, but we're going to dive straight into the categories. And the first category, as always, is the Premium Picks category, which is pretty stellar this week. And we've got a good tournament, a good turnout for the tournament, which is, we were struggling last week a little bit, having talked about that. Len, who are you going to pick in this opening category?
Yeah, Matt, I'm going to try and not overthink this first pick at least, and play Captain Obvious here and go with Scotty Shepler. As you mentioned, the field is loaded. There are 7 of the top 13 golfers in the world here. It's really a good group right before the week before the PGA, which we don't often see. Usually we see the best fields 2 weeks before. Yep. And a lot of guys take that last week off to prepare and rest and check out the course and things like that. But we have a loaded field here this week. And Scotty Shepler is probably familiar with this course. He's from Dallas, not originally New Jersey, but spent much of his life, lives in Dallas. This is McKinney, Texas, just outside Dallas. He's just he's just Scotty Shepler, and it's really hard to say anything other than that right now. He's on a heater. I don't expect it to end. We'll talk about him more next week, I'm sure. Yep. Scotty Shepler.
Yeah, he's won 4 of his last 6 individual tournaments. Do you buy into the theory that he could potentially use this as a stepping stone to next week, or do you think he'll be eyeballs out to try and win here as well?
No, I think most of these guys, when they get on the course, maybe they have that in the back of their mind coming into the week. But they're planning their whole schedule and they want to be fresh and ready and primed for the major. But that said, I think these guys are athletes, and we hear about Scotty Shepler and how competitive he is, not only in golf, but in basketball and other things. When he gets out on the course, he's going to want to win. He's not going to jeopardize next week or the rest of the season. But when he starts playing, he's going to want to win the golf tournament. And in some ways, that's going to be the best preparation for next week, is to play your best golf this week. You can't time your golf. The courses aren't that much alike, so I don't know if they're going to be shots that he'll be working on. I don't think there's going to be that type of scenario. I think he's going to go and try and win.
Yeah, I mean, watch out, everybody. He just seems to win everything that he enters at the moment. Watch out the NBA if he's a basketball fan as well. He'd probably win there as well. I like Jordan Spieth. I totally respect Scheffler, and I think he has a favourites chance. Spieth has unfinished business here. He led after the first 18 holes last year. He was tied 3rd going into the Sunday. He faded slightly to 9th. He arrives this year off the back of winning the Heritage, and he will be obviously trying to make history next week when he competes for the Grand Slam at Southern Hills. I just think that he's going to arrive here full of confidence. He's won back-to-back before. He's done that before. He's a 5-time winner on the bent grass greens. There's just a lot of positives. He's also in Texas, and he's one of Texas's favourite sons, as we all know. I think he'll want to put on a show. He might not want a kind of shootout style tournament, which this might materialise into. But other than that, that's the only negative I could find. And I thought he was a decent value play against Scheffler, I think will be understandably popular. Okay, that's premium picks. Let's move on to the World Elite and get your pick here.
Yeah, I was deciding between two guys in this category, Sam Burns and Will Zalatoris. I don't think you can go wrong either way. I am going to ultimately pick Sam Burns. Sam Burns, maybe a little bit of an edge. Well, he certainly won a few times. He's ranked higher than Will Zalatoris. He played this tournament last year, maybe a slight edge. I don't think there's going to be a huge learning curve for TPC Craig Ranch, and guys who didn't play it last year are at a huge disadvantage, but just helps Sam Burns a little bit. Sam Burns, a little bit better putter. Sam Burns shot 22 under last year here. He was 15 under on the par fives, and he lost to KH Lee by 3 shots, largely because he did not have a good putting week. And Sam Burns is a pretty good putter, putting better this year. So I think if he's putting to his norm, Sam Burns could win this tournament this week. I do like Burns in this category.
Yeah, Burns a real favourite of mine, as viewers of this weekly show will know. But I'm with the other guy you mentioned, as often happens. I'm with Zalatoris this week. He doesn't make much appeal to me at 20-1 to win the tournament against 150 strong field, but in this category, I think he's a really solid play. I think tee to green and approach is going to be king here this week. He ranks second for both of those shots gained categories on the PGA Tour this season. He has extensive course knowledge of TPC Craig Ranch, dating back to his younger amateur days growing up, I think since the age of 12 or something. And he was a solid 17th here last year. Zalatoris for me, and you've covered Burns, and I'd be quite confident that one of us will have the perfect pick in that category. So we'll revisit that next week, that bold prediction. US contenders, who are you on here?
I like Taylor Gooch. I think Taylor Gooch just anecdotally seems like a popular pick in a lot of different formats this week, and rightfully so. This course, as we saw last year, it wasn't important to drive the ball far or especially accurate to be on the first page of the leaderboard. And maybe if there's a big shortcoming to Taylor Gooch's game, it is his driving distance. He does not hit the ball far. So I like the fact that will be mitigated this week. And even though he does not hit the ball far, somehow he is first on tour in eagles per hole, which is one of the 437 different stats that the PGA Tour keeps. And you can do yourself a world of good by making some eagles this week. There are 4 par 5s. It's par 72. None of the par 5s comes even close to 600 yards. There will be eagles, and it could help decide the tournament. He's also 23rd on tour in birdie average. It's another stat I'm looking at. Birdie average, birdie or better percentage. This is going to be maybe not 25 under again this year because there was weather involved last year that softened the course. But I think it's still going to be 20 under or more to win this tournament, and Gooch can go low.
Lovely segue for me. Yeah, Gooch is my pick too, so that's a double for Gooch here. Loads of form on this course from the Corn Ferry Tour. He's done well here in the past. Seems to thrive in this potential shootout scenario. He's got a whole host of scores in the mid-20s under par, which may be what this will turn into. I thought he was a really strong play as well. So Gooch for me too. European stars, over to Europe. And where's the Hochberg hammer come down this time?
Yeah, while I mentioned a moment ago that Taylor Gooch seems to be a popular play in a lot of areas, I find myself on an island here with Tommy Fleetwood. And I'm a little surprised because when I looked at things, I thought, I like Tommy Fleetwood this week. He is playing great. He, after really more than a year of not playing well and almost tumbling out of the top 50 in the world, he's certainly stopped the bleeding. He has finished top 25 in his last 5 stroke play events. He's the hallmark of his game, the iron play, is not there, but he is putting better than he ever has. And since he never putted well before, that's not a very high bar, but he is 8th on tour in strokes gained putting. And he's obviously getting the job done with the last 5 tournaments. And I think the iron play, if that is something that can come back to you, if you're a good iron player and you sort of lose it for a little while, it's easier to come back than if you start losing your putting stroke, and that gets into a mental game and a lot of things. So whatever Tommy Fleetwood is doing, he's doing it very well lately. I'm surprised there aren't more people on him. I'll go it alone this week. Maybe we'll see what you have to say.
Well, I think a key part of DFS is going against the tide and going against the grain. So, if you're right, you're going to make far more gains than everyone that's 25, 30% selected. So I'm always a huge, advocate of that strategy. And I wouldn't put anybody off going for a differential. I think you make a very good case for Fleetwood. I can see that now that you've articulated it. I'm with Seamus Power in this section. He one of the stats you mentioned earlier, birdie average, he ranks 15th, which should stand him in good stead. He's 4th greens in regulation percentage this season. I think he's gone off the boil a little bit, having had a tremendous start to the year. But he tends to do very well in low scoring courses, so he's interesting returning here. And he was top 10 at this course last year too. So Seamus Power for me, but Fleetwood, you heard it here first. Let's cover 2 categories, Len. So let's do international challengers and clutch putters. Easy for me to say.
Yeah, international, Adam Hadwin. We've probably talked about Hadwin a bunch over the last few weeks and months. He's been playing very well. Hadwin, his big trouble spot is on the longer courses. Even though he's delivered on a couple of them so far in 2022, but the rest of his game is very sound. And this is not a long course, and I expect him to play well. He's got 3 top 10s in 2022. I think a couple of other top 25s, just playing his best golf in a number of years. And in the clutch putter category, Maverick McNealy. He's on the fringe of becoming he's a good golfer. Let's say he's on the fringe of becoming a very good golfer. I think, any time that he could contend or win, we're not going to be surprised. He has the ability to go low and to make some putts. 18th on tour in birdie average, and he is 6th on tour in eagles per hole, that fun PGA Tour stat. So you're going to, making eagles this week on those par 5s could really tip the balance of the tournament, or a high finish, or first page of the leaderboard.
Nice. Yeah, I'm laughing because I have that in my notes as well. I have him 6th holes per eagle and 18th birdie average. It's like you're reading from my sheet. McNealy is my pick in the clutch putters, so I'll cover that one off now. You've made the case for him. His form is solid as a rock. He has not missed a cut at an individual stroke play event since the Shriners in October last year.
6 months,
and this tournament also has a history of breakthrough wins, and maybe this is it for McNealy. My going back a category, my pick for the international challenges is Jonathan Vegas, who was 9th here last year. So we know he's well suited to the course. His game is in great shape. 15th last week on a technical challenging course. So I think that's very encouraging moving to this setup. He's 10th driving distance on the PGA Tour. So I think he can really let rip here. But his approach play is fantastic. 21st on tour and 35th tee to green. I think he has a really solid chance. And I've covered off McNealy. Let's finish the category picks. 2 more categories: outside chances and wildcards.
Yeah, obviously we're getting a little dicier here. It becomes a little more challenging, at least for me. Outside chance, probably aptly named, Mackenzie Hughes. Mackenzie Hughes, was a top 50 player. He had some very good results, very good. He finished the year, I think, 39th in the world. He finished 2021. He had a very good fall season, had not really backed it up, but he had a good week last week. And He is so good on the greens, 15th on tour in strokes gained putting. I like him this week. I've been on board with him, and he's been letting me down, but I think we're starting to see a little bit of a rebound in his game. His short game is too good to stay down for too long. And again, I don't think you need to be a long hitter to succeed this week. And in the wild card, Lanto Griffin. Lanto Griffin has played his way into the PGA Championship next week by getting into the top 100 in the world. He was 15th in Mexico. He was 6th at the Wells Fargo. His big miss is the wedge play, strokes gained around the greens. I don't think that is going to be, to dismiss it completely is overstating it, but I don't think the need to excel in that area is great this week as it is in many other weeks. So I like him to continue his fine play this week.
Yeah, for me, outside chances, I'm with Mito Pereira. This is a guy that can go low. So his 3 victories on the Korn Ferry Tour came at 20 under, 21 under, and 27 under. And Ryan Andrade, your colleague at RotoWire, he highlighted in his written preview, which you can find on pickguru.co.uk, that he's by far and away the best iron player in this category. He's 18th on the PGA Tour. He's quite a big fancy, I think, for Ryan in this section, so he'll do for me. I always follow Ryan with one of them at least. And my final pick in the wild cards is Brandon Wu, and this is all about recent form. 3rd at Puerto Rico, 2nd in Mexico. He's also shot plenty of low rounds during that time. He's just unbelievably progressive, and I think he could continue that this week. He's played well in Texas in the past, and he might go well again. But like you said, wide open category. Let's finish how we always finish, with a one and done. Last week, we both hit the crossbar. So you had Rory, who finished 5th, and I had Fitzpatrick, who ended up 2nd. Who is your pick to win the tournament, Len?
Yeah, I guess it would be easy to say Scotty Shepler to win the tournament, but let's talk about it because he's 7-1 in the U.S. betting markets. I don't think that's a price that I would play Scotty Shepler at. Sam Burns is a longer play. What was he, 20, 22, somewhere? Incidentally, I mean, Will Zalatoris was like the second choice, 14-1, crazy lows. Wouldn't go near him at that price, even though I like him this week as well. So Sam Burns would be my pick based on the odds.
Yeah, I think you need to move to the UK, Len. Scheffler is 11-1 best price. So I don't know, that 7 seems mightily tight. And Zalatoris is 22s, but even that seems a bit short, despite him being my pick earlier. But yeah, Sam Burns 20-1, just a live look up here. My pick is going to be Jordan Spieth. I have a checkered past with Jordan Spieth and selecting him for tournaments, but I'm hoping this is one of the better ones. I made my case earlier. I think he's going to be full of confidence. I think he's going to be relaxed. I think he's a dangerous player when he's relaxed, and he's building up to next week, and there's no better prep than to win. And Spieth will do for me. Len, thank you very much for your picks as always. Thanks for your insight. Good luck to all the DFS players out there. Good luck to the PickGuru players. Download the app on the link below, and the very best of luck for the AT&T Byron Nelson. See you next week.